Give us a take home of sort of, what everyone listening would have access to without, and I don't cook very much, which I know is not a good thing. But when I do cook, I cook a lot of the basics that anyone would be able to, access at any store. So just give us a couple of take home foods that you think we need to have in our pantry or in our home and use in our daily lives.
Yeah, well, look, people always ask me the same question, but they're even more specific. They say, Dr. Lee, tell me what you eat. What kind of diet do you follow? What are the top 10 foods that you want to have, you say that everyone should eat? And I come back to say, I'm not on a diet. I don't really believe in diets myself. I have many more than top 10 foods. In fact, in my first book, Eat to Beat Disease, I read about 200 plus foods. In my second book, Eat to Beat Your Metabolism, I read about 100 different foods. So in total, about 300 different foods on food lists that I actually have. So I'm not going to go through all 300, but I have a simple way to communicate what I recommend. And then I will say a few foods, okay? So what I say is I'm not on a diet, given my knowledge of how I want to eat myself to be healthy and what I would share with your listeners or viewers, like what are the things you should do? I say I have a style, a pattern, a way of eating. And the easiest way for me to describe it in a way that people will remember, I call it my style of eating, MediterAsian style eating. MediterAsian style eating. And basically, I naturally gravitate towards the traditional foods that are found in the Mediterranean kitchens or in Asian kitchens. I say traditional because modern Mediterranean and modern Asian isn't always healthy. They've adopted a lot of unhealthy American patterns or Western patterns of eating as well, but traditional. So think about it. You go into the kitchens of or a restaurant, traditional restaurant in Italy, Spain, Greece, south of France. And what are you going to be finding there? You're going to be finding tomatoes. You're going to be finding Swiss chard. You're going to be finding garlic, red onions. You're going to be finding arugula. You're going to be finding basil, rosemary, thyme. The things that you can easily make a garden salad, or you can make a saute, or you can make delicious dishes that, and by the way, this summer I was in the south of France doing research in the local food markets to see what was fresh in the summer. And I went on social media and I just taped myself, and people are going to see more of this. I'm going to be releasing more of my shopping with Dr. Lee in the Mediterranean market to see exactly what it is you buy. And so, you pick up an unusual eggplant, or you pick up a fresh jar of local honey fed on bees that fed off of lavender. What are actually in there? And how do you cook with it? Well, this is where when you have a mobile phone, you can type in a food. Okay, I'm just say Tuscan kale recipe and hit search. And then I hit video. And while I'm in the market, I can watch somebody who passionately shows me how to cook something that I might not have recognized. So you don't have to do all the same old things, but look for these, things in a Mediterranean kitchen. It changes by the season. And by the way, dried beans, people say, stay away from the middle aisle. Also a myth. So many good things in the middle aisle. Coffee beans, organic coffee beans, tea. Matcha is a particularly heavy in the powerful catechins that you actually want. Beans, dried beans, great for gut health. Very important for your gut microbiome. Incredibly important for lowering inflammation, especially if you want to prevent flares that are associated with chronic inflammatory rheumatic diseases like arthritis and other inflammatory diseases. Very important to be able to dark chocolate, cacao, 80% or higher, all found in the middle aisle. And also, by the way, found in Mediterranean recipes. So Mediterranean. Now on the Asian side, oh, by the way, Mediterranean, not just Italy, Spain, Greece, France, but there are 20 some countries that ring the Mediterranean Ocean. Yeah. It is such a diverse group of places. Your hummus, all your different eggplant, the baba ganoushas. There's a lot of great foods that are absolutely delicious. The number one thing of any food that I eat, like I would say it's got to be tasty. The second number one thing it has to be is healthy, right? Yeah. And so now flip to Asia. Think about it. China, Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, like those are the foods that you naturally go to. Who couldn't find something on a menu in one of those restaurants that you might like? Now you go to those countries and you go to their markets, and what do you actually have? Cabbage. You have bok choy. you have ginger, you have bamboo shoots, you have juju berries, you have all kinds of fresh fruits and vegetables, horn melon, dragon fruit, papaya, all these foods that, you might have passed by in the grocery store. Now, give them a shot. And if you're not familiar with them, look them up online, look at recipe. Like, you can look up the Wikipedia part of it for sure, but immediately go right for the recipe and hit video and watch somebody with passion. It's like the Food Network. Teach how to actually cook with it. And you'll never be bored. Your palate will always be stimulated, and you'll never be afraid to try new things in a grocery store. That's how I do it.
Yeah. It's wonderful. It's exploring. I went to an Asian market around here, a supermarket, and, everyone was going in. I mean, there was just no specific person or country, it was so interesting because there were foods in that supermarket that were so different than down the street to our conventional big box shop, right? Or Stop and Shop or what have you. And you just realize what you might be missing. Like, you just realize what you might be missing. And it's very eye-opening to just even squid. There's living creatures in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But here in the produce section, did you see something that I think is so unusual? I saw it in an Asian market the other day. They sell something you would have thrown away in a traditional supermarket, and it's the stem of lettuce.
Right.
So lettuce, right, is just you break off into a salad.
Or broccoli, you chop off the end, right?
So lettuce stems are called celtuce, CELTUCE. They are packed with polyphenols. And rather than just cut off the top of the lettuce, wrap it up in plastic and sell it with the microplastics that leach into it, they actually sell the actual stem of the lettuce. And that is actually a vegetable dish in Asia. You clean it up, you strip off the outer. It's a great source of dietary fiber and vitamins. And you cut them into medallions, and you saute them with a little bit of garlic and ginger. And you got yourself a great vegetable accompaniment for your meal. So again, this is where it's wonderful to me. The way that I eat is really to please my palate while enhancing my health. My statement is always, love your food to love your health.
I love it. And I love that one of the most powerful sentences you have in the whole book, which I underlined and circled, the most powerful way to beat disease is to prevent it in the first place. I mean, if that didn't spring off the page to me, I think it's just such a wonderful thing. And everything, you're talking about, from your love of food to how to be practical about getting these nutrients into our bodies, to prevent these diseases that I think are really just epidemic now. I just think it's a wonderful, it's a wonderful conversation, and it's a wonderful contribution to the masses. So thank you so much for doing all of that work.